We're only 1 week into the Queensland state election campaign, but it's already clear the major parties see heading north as their path to victory.
Well, all we got to do is play the game of follow the leader.
This is for your principal on Monday.
We go to the far north, there's Cairns.
She is beautiful.
They've campaigned a lot in Townsville.
Very good.
Retirement in the provincial city of Mackay makes that in play.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for having us.
Same in Rockhampton.
Hi, Julie.
You move down the coast, the most marginal seat there is,
Come to Bundaberg today.
9 votes. So I'm sure the local member there is trying to hang on to the 4 who gave it to him. If the LNP won the lot, that would just about give them government.
Polling shows the Liberal National Party are hot favourites to win. But to oust Labor, who have been in charge for nearly a decade, they'll need to pick up at least 14 seats.
They really need more than 14 seats. As we've seen in other states, you're only one scandal away from minority government. I think I did the calculation to have the same majority as Labor has at the moment, which is barely comfortable. They need to win 17 seats. That is a heck of a lot.
This is what ends up.
The LNP, led by David Crisafulli, has focused heavily on crime. Former Liberal Party campaign chairman Graham Young believes the messaging has been effective.
In as much as the LNP seems to have a catchy phrase, it's adult crime, adult time, which directs you to youth crime as being the major crime issue. It's particularly out of control, it would appear, watching TV in northern Queensland, in places like Townsville.
Labor is pinning its hopes on offering cost of living relief in the form of $1,000 off power bills, cheaper car registrations and 50-cent public transport fares.
Yeah, that's perfect.
The cost of living issue that has made the government competitive is the 50-cent public transport fares. Why? Because in the outer metropolitan areas, that's where it makes the difference.
That's good.
Former Labor MP and now political analyst John McCall says the LNP is well aware that Labor is desperate to cling on to those outer metro seats.
And that's why they've agreed to match every one of the government's initiatives to blank out that advantage. But what the government can't do is convince people, or is struggling to do, is convince people that there isn't a youth crime issue.
I have never felt so scared in my life.
The LNP has been driving the point home using social media.
Both sides of the Queensland politics right now are significantly using TikTok for their election campaigning. It's actually become one of their core tools. Stephen Miles in particular has done some around the Olympic Games in Brisbane.
We're so excited to welcome them home to Queensland.
And then there's the other video that he did with 2 very well-known drag queens.
Very demure, very mindful.
Very considerate.
The LNP, of course, went hard at the start with that AI video of Stephen Miles dancing to a Neo song. That was kind of the start of the really hard push of the election campaign.
Strategic communication expert Dr. Susan Grantham says social media has transformed the way politicians deliver their message.
So we've seen the parties use TikTok in that fun, energetic way, but now we're seeing the 2 politicians use it as well.
Political ads are banned on TikTok, but that just means you need to get creative about how you deliver your message.
But you know what does go together? Not paying 1 single cent of stamp duty.
To the uninitiated, this can make for some strange viewing.
We want to diversify the Queensland economy, which means more jobs.
But it does seem to attract views.
It's algorithmically driven. And to get your videos seen, you need to tap into what's currently trending.
I said, let him cook!
In the studies that I have been doing, I've certainly seen a correlation between success on TikTok and success on election day.
The TikTok campaign is all about trying to speak to young, largely unaligned voters. But more traditional style ads are being used as well.
There's a bit of the ghost of Premier's past with this. So for the LNP, it's what happened when they were last in government.
David Crisafulli and Campbell Newman closed the Wynnum Hospital.
But also the government's got to define itself with a new premier.
Stephen Miles was involved in all the big decisions that led to the youth crime crisis, record ambulance ramping.
Ahead of the polls, both sides are very keen on claiming underdog status.
Oh, you are cute. Whoa.
We don't like people to get too far ahead of themselves, and if you pretend to be anything but the underdog, then people see you're a tall poppy and they're getting the mower out.
What Labor is anxious to avoid, firstly, is defeat. But secondly, if it is defeat, not a repeat of what happened in 2012, where they could have fitted after the election into a Tarago van.